皆さん、こんにちは。日本語コンピータです。元気ですか？僕は元気ですよ。So for the past 3 months, I've been learning Japanese via the immersion method, and I'm creating this video to let the world know I'm fluent.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg! No, but seriously, in the past, I would watch these update videos, and I thought that they were really entertaining and also really inspiring to get me to actually start doing immersion. So that's why I decided to create this. The videos are good because they let me know that I'm not alone and that other people are going through similar things that I am. So timestamps are in the description. So a little bit of background into myself. I actually have a lot of experience with Japanese. I'm not a complete beginner. So from around 2015 to 2017, I took 4 semesters of Japanese in school, and that covered basically the first 2 Genki volumes. So all of the grammar, all of the vocabulary, and something like 300 kanji, I should have already known, allegedly. But despite this, I would say that my actual comprehension ability was still something close to late beginner, early intermediate at best. It really was not that good. And my listening ability was actually trash. It was the weakest part of every test I took. But at this point, I really wasn't familiar with immersion learning. So outside of class and homework, I basically had no contact with the language outside of maybe occasionally watching anime. So then fast forward like 5 to 6 years where I was just too busy being an absolute winner and you know, really succeeding at life to study Japanese. So at this point, I finally decided to start brushing up on my Japanese in preparation for a trip to Japan. But I really didn't have much of a plan. So I did like an entire year of just Anki, specifically the JLPT Tango N5 deck, and then eventually N4 and N3. And I did very, very little immersion, maybe 40 hours in like the span of the entire year. So that's basically nothing. All of that really just kind of brought me up to where I was before I left school. So not complete beginner, but somewhere in the early intermediate range. So like I was familiar with the basic vocabulary, familiar with the basic grammar, but I really did not feel comfortable speaking or really following anything without subtitles. After 2 pretty good trips to Japan, I decided to stop fucking around and in 2024 actually take this seriously. The bulk of my immersion was just me going to my local Japanese grocery store and following people around and eavesdropping on their conversations. Oh, fuck. Just kidding. I used mostly podcasts, almost entirely for their convenience. I do a lot of traveling throughout the day for work, so just being able to listen while I'm out and about commuting is perfect. So the first month I used almost exclusively Nihongo Kontepe for beginners, and that was pretty perfect for me, but I got caught up about the beginning of February, and then I spent the next month kind of bouncing around a bunch of other podcasts, mostly in the Tepe/Noriko universe. But I realized that they were kind of a bit too above my level. I started to question whether comprehending like 20 to 30% of a podcast was actually benefiting me. And I reacquainted myself with linguist Stephen Krashen's input theory, where basically he says that you benefit the most when the content that you're immersing in is just slightly above your comprehension level, I+1. I knew that I was probably benefiting a little bit from these like more advanced podcasts, but nowhere near as quickly as I should be. So I actually, starting in March, I actually went back to the Nihongo Kontepe beginner podcast and just started re-listening to old episodes. And this actually was even better than the first time around, where I would say I was going for anywhere between 40 to 70% comprehension per episode. Now it was like 75% and above. So, and that's pretty much what I've been doing up until now, and it's been going pretty well. And for reading, I've been using the app Satori Reader, which I didn't know about in the beginning. I started it about in February, and oh my god, it is incredible. Satori Reader is seriously goated. Those of you that don't know, Satori Reader is essentially just a graded reader that has a bunch of different stories. And see here, if you just hover on any word, it gives you the definition, longer phrases, as well as the entire sentence. So this has honestly been like amazing. Whereas normally, if I'm immersing with something and I have to look up a word, it kind of derails the momentum. But because it's just so easy here, immersing with content that has like a bunch of different words that are like above my level, it really isn't too bad. And I find myself over time retaining more of those. Kind of like sentence mining without actually sentence mining. All right, so now for some numbers. I basically recorded all of the immersion that I did every day, and then I plugged it into this Excel. It's not the prettiest thing, but you know, it does what it needs to do. I have it here in minutes, here in hours, and then this is starting from January 1st all the way to March 31st. As you can see, around here in February is when start introducing some reading into the mix. A couple of these days I was able to go past 4 hours. That's pretty good. And then around here, it's more or less consistently 2 hours. This is actually around the time that I started making YouTube videos, link in the description. I did over 200 hours in total and about 2.5 hours per day. And my goal was to get at least 2. So this is pretty good, I must say. Yeah, almost entirely listening, but with a respectable amount of reading. Going into the next 3 months, I'm trying to get this reading slice to be a bigger section of this pie, I must say. So I originally started using the book Remembering the Kanji last year, and I probably used it just once. I'm kind of lazy, and so I decided that I needed something that was a bit more convenient that I was able to do on my phone when I'm on commutes and whatnot. So that's why I started using WaniKani, and I was able to get it when they had the holiday sale, so got it for a bit of a discount. But WaniKani's been working great for me. I know that some people have been talking about the price, which I could completely understand, but for me, the ease of being able to do it on my phone, it's either that or I'm not going to do it, honestly. So I've been specifically using the third-party app Surukame, specifically because I wanted to use the app while offline, and because you have to use WaniKani in a web browser, if I'm ever on the subway or something like that, it just won't load. The app has a bunch of quality of life features, like being able to treat it like Anki, so not having to manually type in every single thing, which is super great. Being able to customize the order that you do reviews as well. All in all, it's just a big improvement to just base WaniKani, and I'm able to go through like 100+ reviews in something like 10 minutes. So it's pretty awesome. The only thing that's missing from the third-party app, I would say pitch accent charts. Pitch accent charts would be awesome. But yeah, all of those things put together, it's super convenient for me. It works. I'm retaining lots of kanji. All of that makes shelling out a couple of shekels worth it for me personally. Like I said, I started using the JLPT Tango decks. Started with N5 and then worked my way up to N3, but then around N3, it kind of got like a little too much for me, you know, seeing kind of weird words like what the hell is this? Yeah, I don't think I need to know this just yet. I've seen a lot of people online talking about the core 2K, 6K decks. I'm pretty sure that probably would have been better. I think especially because you can add pitch accent graphs, which I've been really interested in as of late. But I'm kind of already in this Tango hole, so I'm just gonna stick with it. I stopped doing new cards of the N3 deck and then decided to jump to sentence mining new words that I was seeing in Satori Reader. But after doing that for a few weeks, I stopped because I was manually creating the new cards each day, which was taking like, I don't know, maybe like half an hour, which is honestly not that long. But when I'm already doing 20 new cards of WaniKani, something like 50 reviews of the Anki cards that I've learned already from the previous decks, 2 hours of immersion, you know, it's a lot. It takes a lot of time, and I already have all these other pursuits that I'm trying to do, like focusing on building up another YouTube channel, going to the gym, work, so much stuff going on already. The new sentence mining kind of was the thing that would be left on the side. Now, Satori Reader actually has a built-in SRS system of its own, which I might consider using, but already going from WaniKani to Anki to now Satori Reader, 3 SRS systems kind of sounds like a lot, but who knows, I might give it a try. I think the biggest challenge that I've noticed is probably my focus. I think because the vast majority of my immersion is just pure audio, it's very easy for me, especially when the content is more difficult, that I just kind of tune out. It's like if my brain has trouble comprehending something, it just will focus on literally anything else, whether it's a pretty sight, sounds, internal thoughts. And then at that point, it just becomes noise. And then it's almost like a meditation in a sense that I have to then continuously bring myself back. When I make sure that the content is actually closer to my level, like the I+1, I don't lose focus as easily because I'm actually following what's being said. Yeah, I think that keeping the content around the right level, as well as doing other things like meditation that inherently give me more focus, will be good going forward. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the progress that I've made. My level of comprehension has increased substantially since I started 3 months ago. According to Wanikani, I know like 500 kanji now, which is pretty sick. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to immerse in just like reading manga. That's like one of the reasons I even started doing this. I'd like to expand the scope of what I'm immersing with. I'm most likely going to be using majority podcasts just because of how convenient they are with my schedule, but either using different podcasts or maybe even downloading some J-dramas or anime with Japanese subtitles that I can watch when I'm on the train. That would be pretty good too, as long as it just has subtitles, because I think that having a good mix, pure audio immersing, video with subtitles, straight reading, I think that having a bunch of different things is probably best. I'd say another goal of mine is just to make sure that I'm getting quality immersion time. So not getting distracted. If I'm listening to podcasts, actually staying on track and not going, ooh, look at the pretty flowers, ooh, or whatever it is that I do when I'm walking around. In a lot of January and February, I was doing about half of my immersion at the gym as well. So on the chart previously, there was a lot of days where I was getting well above 2 hours, even close to 3 or 4. And that's because I was doing a lot of passive listening while I was working out at the gym. And I stopped doing that going into the 3rd month because I realized that it really wasn't quality immersion. Even though the majority of my time spent at the gym is me resting in between sets, that like 20 to 30 seconds when I'm actually lifting something. And then when I come out of that and I'm resting, I've already kind of, gotten derailed. So I don't really know what they're talking about. So I will again just zone out. So I basically stopped listening at the gym, and if I did listen at the gym, I would only listen in between sets and really try and focus. So if I am going to listen more at the gym, I'm going to try and keep it just to that. Definitely doing more reading as well is something that I'm trying to do in the next 3 months. Reading is just inherently more active. It's really hard to be dozing off while you're reading, whereas with a podcast, it can just become noise. With reading, I'm just there staring at the words. More reading on Satori Reader, maybe introducing some manga, things like that would be cool. That's basically it. You can check back again in 3 months. If anyone's watched till the end, thank you very much. Expect more in the future. If you're trying to watch some dope ass content, subscribe to the channel in the description. And yeah, that's it. Peace.